Okay, let's give it a second. All right. Okay. Let me see to make sure everything's working. Where's the chat? Very impromptu, I know. But dear God, this has been an absolute laughingstock so far. Did he get lost on his way to the podium? We'll find out in a second. I'll give it a second. What do we got here? We have 4 viewers right now. Okay, that's good. We had 11 watching earlier, so I'm curious to see what happened there. Unimportant, though. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and then get to, I guess, skip a little bit ahead. It started already, so.
But I knew.
We can see if he gets lost, actually. Oh, look, they got a ghost gun right there. There's a ghost gun. Oh, this is going to be great. Yeah, no comments, no nothing. Oh, yeah. Let me go. It's going to fuck up Streamlabs. Let me see. Yeah, chat disabled. Let's be sure to make sure we can dislike that. Now let's pull that back up to full screen. But yeah, it is. It's going to be great. This is someone right here. Yeah, Loki Wartooth. Yeah, no, Crimea River. Oh yeah, no, it's going to be. If there's anything we're going to gain from this, it's, oh my God, aren't you glad you 3D print? But I can see from what I've gathered so far from watching or reading up on what the rule change does, it is essentially targeting Polymer 80. So as long as you really aren't Polymer 80, that's the real loser of the whole situation. But I hope we get to see a demonstration. I really, really hope they show us how to make a ghost gun. Crisis actors. Okay, we got 28 people here. Let's go. Let's get started. Let's see if Biden gets lost on his way. Okay. He looks confused. Okay, now he's got a smile on.
Please have a seat. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Oh, God, we're going to listen to Kamala speak. Okay.
President Joe Biden, members of Congress, members of our administration, friends, and fellow Americans. When gunfire rings out in a community, it brings fear, and it brings pain to the victims, to those who love them, to the parents who tell their children to run into the bathtub when they hear gunfire on the street outside.
No, that's just California.
Because it is the safest place in the home from a stray bullet. Gun violence brings pain to the entire community, and by extension, to the whole of society. As a prosecutor, I brought many perpetrators of gun violence to justice.
Yeah, don't forget, she also brought a bunch of black people who couldn't go or send their kids to school for truancy. Remember that. She would lock up a lot of people for that, solely so they could be firefighters. This is great. Kamala is just a wonderful person.
Even after a successful prosecution, the hurt and the loss and the fear often still remained. To the survivors of gun violence who are here with us today, and to the friends and family members of those we have lost, I thank you for your incredible determination in the face of so much pain. And it is a deep honor to stand with you today. As we know all too well, our nation continues to be plagued by an epidemic of gun violence. The President has worked for decades to end this terror. For my whole career, addressing gun violence has been one of my top priorities, first as a courtroom prosecutor, then as the elected district attorney of San Francisco when we created a gun specialist unit to go after violent offenders, then as Attorney General of California, where we worked within our California Bureau of Firearms to investigate and seize firearms for those who unlawfully possess them. I have seen firsthand how our nation's epidemic of gun violence has been driven by the proliferation of proliferation, of guns in our communities, and increasingly in recent years by the proliferation of ghost guns. Ghost guns can be purchased on the internet and assembled at a kitchen table.
That's me! That's me!
They can be
That's
bought
me!
without a background check by people who otherwise would be legally prohibited from gun ownership. Domestic abusers, gun traffickers, individuals convicted of violent crimes, and even young children. Traditional guns are required to have serial numbers, which can help law enforcement identify a firearm that has been stolen from its lawful owner or found at the scene of a crime. Ghost guns have no serial numbers. They are practically untraceable, making it more difficult for law enforcement to hold to account those who use weapons to do violence. Because of how easy they are to access and how difficult they are to trace, ghost guns pose an especially grave threat to the safety of our communities. That is why, as a United States Senator, I was proud to co-sponsor a bill to manufacture and end the manufacturing, of sale of ghost guns. And it is why we are here
You're
today
a little nervous there, Kamala,
to
huh?
announce new actions to get ghost guns
on, you can
off
do it.
our streets.
I believe in
and
you.
to protect our communities from gun violence.
Oh, she got saved by the claps.
The Department of Justice plays a critical role in addressing gun violence in our communities. And the actions we are taking today would not be possible without their partnership. So I'm proud to now welcome a leader who has spearheaded much of the department's work on this important issue, Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco.
By the way, is the audio going well for you guys? Just let me know. I'll try to change things around. Just tell me.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President, Mr. President, Mia. There is no higher priority for the Department of Justice than keeping the American people safe. That is why every day
Let me get a fucking beer.
with our community and law enforcement partners to combat violent crime through prevention and through prosecutions. Too often, though, murders and other serious crimes are committed with guns. Each victim of gun violence is someone's loved one, a neighbor, a friend. We stand together today in recognition of that
It's
loss
5 p.m. somewhere in the
and
world.
alongside all of those who have been touched by the tragedy of gun violence. We also stand together with resolve and with hope for the future. Just over 1 year ago, the President, the Vice President, and the Attorney General stood in this very spot to announce new steps to curb gun violence. One such critical step is reining in so-called ghost guns. These are guns that have no serial numbers. They are nearly impossible for law enforcement to trace. Many are sold without a background check. They're accessible to almost anyone. They often come in kits. They can be bought online. They can be assembled quickly with little or no training. That means that someone can convert.
I really like this so far. I can't imagine just such a glowing endorsement of how far we've come. Remember, it's super hard. No one can do it. Oh, it's super easy. Anyone can get it. You can just do it on your own. This is great. I love this so far. I really hope they're going to show us how to actually manufacture it live on air. That would be great.
Convert parts in a box into a working gun with alarming ease. Now, we call them
Actually, now let me lower
ghost
the volume. I
guns
could care less about this a little bit.
because they can't be traced.
Yeah.
But make no mistake.
Someone said, how many times are they going to define ghost
They can
guns?
shoot,
I can
kill,
tell you they're going to
and
define it several
they
times so
do.
far, and they won't define it
For
like
years,
consistent once.
Criminals have sought out these unmarked guns to murder and to maim. That's why the Attorney General has signed a rule that updates our regulations to keep up with changes in technology. The goal? To keep untraceable guns off of the streets, out of the hands of criminals and others who are prohibited by law from possessing a firearm. Some of the key changes include updating old definitions to ensure that gun laws apply to all firearms.
Actually, I'm going to show this after this, by the way. What she just described right here is something amazing that happened. Essentially, it was there was a story from California where some guy was manufacturing and selling machine guns, and he almost got off, mind you, and it was because the judge was about to rule that the AR-15 an AR-15 wasn't really a firearm because there wasn't really the lower didn't really fit the definition of a firearm. So instead of getting this guy, or the DOJ decided we'll just let him go because, dear God, if this actually comes through, that means then the AR-15 won't be a firearm. That means anyone can just buy an AR-15 directly into the mail. It's great. That is exactly what they are mentioning right here. This is a direct response to that.
Including ghost guns, requiring gun dealers to run background checks on kits containing parts that can readily be converted into a gun.
And I'll just say this right now in case you guys haven't figured this out yet. If you wanted to build a Polymer 80, go right now. Go right now and get your P80, because chances are this is going to be held up in the courts for a while. So I would, if you wanted to build one now, go ahead. Or hell, there might be a couple fire sales probably happening soon, I bet.
Facilitating tracing by requiring firearms dealers to apply serial numbers to existing ghost guns that they then take into inventory. Because of these updates, law enforcement will have additional crime gun intelligence to stop gun violence, to seek justice for victims of violent crimes, and to...
I'm being told P80s are sold out everywhere. This is no surprise to me. YouTube, my bad. When I said buy P80s, I meant P80s in 80% or benchies. That's what I meant, not firearms. That's against TOS, and I didn't say that. That's TOS is bad.
Get guns used in crimes off of our streets. Today's announcement is one of many efforts by the Department of Justice to protect our communities from violent crime and gun violence. We continue to go after and disrupt illegal gun trafficking networks. We continue to go after and hold accountable the most violent offenders. And we are working every day with our partners in law enforcement and with community leaders to craft specific strategies to combat violent crime and keep communities safe. We will not stop until we reduce violent crime and save lives. As the Attorney General has said, the department will continue to apply every single tool at our disposal to fulfill that obligation. And now it is my great honor to introduce Mia Tretta, an inspiring young woman whose story illustrates
is she
why
one
we're
of the
here
Parkland
today
ones? Oh
and
my
why
God.
these actions are so important. Thank you.
Is she a survivor or something? Is that what it's going to be? Because I'll just skip right ahead. Yeah, I'm just going to skip ahead. I'm just not going to deal with it. There's something about, okay, fine, you're a survivor, whatever. I don't care what you have to say. I'm sorry. I hope you guys don't care that much. I want to hear Sleepy Joe. But don't worry. Yeah, I'm going to just skip. I genuinely have no interest in what she has to say. But what I will do after this is, I wasn't sure if they were going to do the stream, mind you. I didn't know if they were actually going to do it. I thought they were just going to release it silently and hope no one paid attention. From also what I've heard today too is a bunch of celebrities too are going to go celebrate afterwards this too. There's supposed to be some sort of celebration party. Some real retarded shit. What I was going to do, I was going to show you guys the actual document because it's absolutely hilarious. So I guess I'll show that immediately after this. But it is let's go hear what Sleepy Joe has to say. Did he sniff her though on his way out? Let me check that.
In chief ever to hold office.
What was that?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my great honor to introduce the strongest gun sense commander-in-chief ever to hold office.
Gun sense.
President Joe Biden.
I don't want to listen to hand-picked propaganda. Sniff, 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 sniff.
Wow.
His words touch me. He could never touch Chris.
Thank you, Madam Vice President, Deputy Attorney General Monaco. And Mia, you're an incredible young woman. We spoke for a moment inside the Oval Office, and a lot of people here who have lost someone, and too many here have lost someone, know that no matter what the occasion, how celebratory or not it is, when you have to repeat it, you relive it like it just happened a moment ago. Your poise, your confidence, and your intellect are really impressive, honey. I mean, they really are. And you know, I think most people here can tell you've gone through serious loss, that the best way to deal with it is find purpose. And you found real purpose. And you are impressive. And thank you for sharing your strength, for helping us remember your friend Dominic Blackwell and Gracie Muehlberger. You know, Dominic and Gracie's parents are with us today. Are you prepared to stand up? If I don't want to embarrass you, but would you stand up?
Cheeseburger, I see you're mentioning about the ATF directly. We'll talk about that afterwards. Don't worry, I'm going to go through the document afterwards. That was the original goal, but this is live right now, so why not, obviously.
If you have a moment afterwards, maybe you can come in the Oval with me, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, no, don't go to the Oval alone with Joe. You don't
Frank
want that.
and Nancy, Brian and Cindy, everyone here, as they say, feels your pain a little bit, particularly if they've suffered a serious loss. You've now joined a terrible fellowship of loss that many people have experienced. There are too many survivors and advocates here for me to name everyone today, but let me say, the loss in this crowd is incalculable, but so is the strength. So is the strength. I believe our nation will be safer for your bravery, and I really mean that. Survivors like me and Manny and Claudia, Los Angeles Deputy Sheriff who survived an ambush by a shooter with a ghost gun, represent individuals and families all across this country whose lives have been forever changed by a ghost gun. Some made national headlines, many others did not. Today we honor your strength and your action. A year ago this week, standing here with many of you, I instructed the Attorney General to write a regulation that would rein in the proliferation of ghost guns because I was having trouble getting anything passed in the Congress. But I used what we call regulatory authority. A year later...
You're not supposed to say that part out loud, Joe. You're not supposed to say that part out loud. That's great. I also saw someone mentioned it too. Too many survivors. Yeah, there are too... Yes, he did say there are too many survivors too.
We're here, we keep that promise. The gun lobby tried to tie up the regulators and paperwork for a long, long time. The NRA called this rule I'm about to announce extreme.
Bullshit! The NRA said anything about it, but okay, great. Let's go here. Let's hear about the evil NRA guys. Let's go. Oh boy, this is gonna be great.
Extreme. But let me ask you, is it extreme to protect police officers? Extreme to protect our children? Extreme to keep guns out of the hands of people who couldn't even pass a background check? Look, the idea that someone on the terrorist list could purchase one of these guns is extreme.
I should probably let him finish, but dear God. I really do like this. The Democrats are the real party of back the blue, but really the terrorist watch list, you know, the one that anyone can be put on, you know, you can get on the no-fly list easily just because you said something mean on the internet. This is just, I think I'm just going to play it out, but let me go get myself another beer while he does this.
Extreme, it isn't extreme, just basic common sense. You know, if you buy a couch you have to assemble, it's still a couch. If you order a package like this one over here, that includes the parts you need, the direction of assembling a functioning firearm, you bought a gun. Take a look.
Oh, we're going to see it. We're going to see it.
It comes in this package.
Out of the locker.
You can see the picture down here, maybe. This is the gun. It's not hard to put together.
Show how to do it, Joe. Show us how to do it.
Hand drill at home. Doesn't take very long. Anyone can order it in the mail.
It's sold out now.
Folks, a felon, a terrorist, a domestic abuser can go from a gun kit to a gun in as little as 30 minutes. Buyers aren't required to pass background checks because guns have no serial numbers, these guns. When they show up at a crime scene, they can't be traced. Harder to find and prove who used them. Meaning you can't connect the gun to the shooter and hold them accountable. In fact, the ATF reports that they've been able to trace less than 1% of ghost guns reported by law enforcement.
Oh, can we get a round of applause for that one, guys? Let me see a couple of claps in the chat, guys. Good job. Everyone, that is impressive. We got to keep those numbers nice and low.
So it makes sense that police across the country are increasingly finding ghost guns at crime scenes. And by the way, ghost guns can be, quote, rifles, essentially assault weapons as well. This is just one version of the kit you can buy. Last year alone, law enforcement reported approximately 20,000 suspected ghost guns to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. That's a 10-fold increase in these ghost guns from 2016. 10-fold in 5 years. These guns.
I need to get the clip for what is it? Where it's Nicholas? It's Nicolas Cage saying we need to keep these numbers up. That's great. Oh my God, good job, guys. This is just great.
These are weapons of choice for many criminals. We're going to do everything we can to deprive them of that choice. And when we find them, put them in jail for a long, long time. Law enforcement is sounding the alarm. Our communities are paying the price, and we're acting. Today, the United States Department of Justice is making it illegal for a business to manufacture one of these kits without a serial number. Illegal.
Oh, it's the base pastatosa. I'm glad to see you.
Illegal for a licensed gun dealer to sell them without a background check.
Oh, by the way, guys, I really want to show you guys the document afterwards because it is. They require you now if you sell your 3D printed guns to FFLs, you have to get it serialized. Now, I don't know how many of you guys have tried selling your 3D printed guns to an FFL, but please record yourself when you do it. It's usually hilarious. I remember when I did it for mine. I think every single person in the building laughed. So, well, don't worry. It doesn't just end here.
Starting today, weapons like the one used in Saugus High School and to ambush deputies with us that are here with us today are being treated like the deadly firearms they are. And if somebody sells a ghost gun to a federally licensed dealer, for example, a pawn shop, that dealer must make the firearm and mark it with a serial number before reselling it. All of a sudden, it's no longer a ghost. It has a return address. And it's going to help save lives, reduce crime, and get more criminals off the streets. And this rule is only part of our strategy to go after ghost guns. In February, the Department of Justice launched a national ghost gun enforcement initiative, intensifying our efforts to bring cases against those who use ghost guns illegally. We're teaching investigators and prosecutors best practices, how to build these cases, and assigning a coordinator in each of the ATF field divisions to serve as a point person for helping federal, state, and local law enforcement go after ghost guns. If you commit a crime with a ghost gun, expect federal prosecution. Not just state, expect federal prosecution.
Well, let me read the grift chat right here. Thank you, Winking Walrus. 1% reported. Way too high of a number. 0% is the goal. I couldn't agree more. I'm going to let Biden finish speaking first.
This rule is an important step. It's going to make a difference, I promise you. And there are a lot of other things we know work to reduce gun violence and other violent crimes and save lives. That's why I put together a comprehensive strategy to supercharge what works while continuing to push Congress to act on sensible legislation to prevent gun violence. In addition to today's rule, we're working on 4 areas. First, we're going after rogue gun dealers. The last time we had data on this was more than 20 years ago. 5% of gun dealers sold 90% of illegal guns found at crime scenes. 5% sold 90%. These merchants of death are breaking the law for profit, selling guns that are killing innocent people. We're cracking down on these gun dealers and the violent criminals they knowingly arm. Second, we're disrupting illegal gun trafficking. Attorney General Garland has directed all U.S. attorneys to prioritize combating gun trafficking that is
looks like the uppers are right now wearing off, guys. I think the meds are wearing off.
moving guns across state lines and city boundaries. The Justice Department is surging prosecutorial resources.
Wait. Let me get that right. Wait a second.
People. We're cracking down on these gun dealers and the violent criminals they knowingly arm. Second, we're disrupting illegal gun trafficking. Attorney General Garland has directed all U.S. attorneys to prioritize combating gun trafficking that is moving guns across state lines and city boundaries. The Justice Department is surging prosecutorial resources to help shut down these trafficking corridors, including the one known as the Iron Pipeline that funnels weapons.
Did he just say? I don't know. Okay.
From gun shops in states like Georgia to crime scenes up and down the East Coast.
Magic
Thirdly,
lines, yeah.
We're funding strategy we know
Damn,
reduces
Carter,
gun crime.
I swear to God, Carter, you better watch out, all right? You are not safe anymore.
Community policing and community violence interruption. Look, I've said it many times. The answer is not to defund the police. It's to fund the police and give them the tools and training to support they need to be better part.
Hey, wait, by the way, is Night Trace here? Is the commie still here? Oh, God. I would, oh, boy. We can push Biden left, guys. We can push Biden left. This is, oh, God, this is beautiful.
Partners and protectors of our communities in need. And I've already made clear that I want cities, states, counties, and tribes to use some of the $350 billion we sent to them in the American Rescue Plan that I wrote in the first month to reduce gun violence, hire police officers for community policing, pay police overtime, purchase crime-fighting technologies. They were given the money, they can do it. Spend it. And now, on top of that, I'm calling for additional funding to put police on the streets for community policing. One thing we learned in the middle of the crime wave not long ago.
How did that crime wave happen, Joe? How did that happen? What do you think happened then? What are we talking about here? But yeah, I do like it. Yeah, now, no, we don't. It's not the problem. We don't have enough, or we need more police, guys. We don't just want to defund the police. We want to give you more police. This is great. People voted for this, and it is just, oh boy. Be sure to send this to your friends. If anyone you know voted for Joe, be sure to send them that.
When the cop knows by first name who owns the corner drugstore, who lives in the apartment above 6B, who the people who are the pastors of the churches, guess what? People talk to them.
You were completely right. Someone corrected me. You're right. It wasn't a crime wave. It was all peaceful. It was a summer of love. Silly me. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you for correcting me.
Trust them. My son was the Attorney General in Delaware. He'd go around and make sure everybody literally in these high crime rate neighborhoods, he'd give them his personal cell phone number and instructed all the cops to do the same thing. And they did. And the crime plummeted. Not a joke. Look at the record. Not just my son, but all across the nation. And for the FT to hire agents, they need to help to fight gun crime. More agents.
Wait, did he just mention a son?
My budget funds body they need. My son. The crime plummeted all the neighborhoods. He'd give them his personal cell phone number. High crime rate neighborhoods. He'd give them his personal cell phone number and instructed all the cops to do the same thing. And they did. And the crime plummeted. Not a joke. Look at the record. Not just my son, but all across the nation. And for the FT to hire agents,
But didn't
they
Hunter
need to help to fight
literally
gun
buy a
crime.
gun illegally
More
and then
agents.
throw it away in a trash
My
can?
budget funds body cameras, make sure police work with our local communities and are accountable to the local communities. We're
Was there
also
context I
investing
just
in
missed?
community violence intervention. These are areas of local programs that utilize trusted messengers, community members, and leaders to work directly with people who are the most likely to commit a gun crime or become victims of gun crime. Get to them early. It works.
Wait, what the
It works.
What did... Oh, yeah, he had two sons.
They intervene before it's too late. Fourth, we're funding jobs and training for young people, summer programs, drug treatment, mental health, housing availability, criminal justice reform, and reentry support for people coming home after incarceration. Right now, you get let out of prison after serving your time, you get a bus ticket and $25.
What was that one, Joe?
You
What
end
was
up
that
under the
again?
same bridge you left 2, 5, 10 years earlier. If you serve your time, you qualify for Pell Grants, you qualify for housing, you qualify for food, you qualify to get back into the community, give them a fighting chance. These are all demonstrated ways to reduce crime. And I'm strongly urging cities, states, counties, and tribes to use the rescue plan funding we sent them to do more in each of these areas. And they need to do more and do it quickly before the summer, when crime typically surges around America. So, we're pushing in each of these areas.
Those are
None
called
of this
peaceful
absolves
protests,
Congress,
Joe.
with all due respect to my members of Congress here, they're the wrong people I'd be talking to, for the responsibility to act. We need Congress to pass universal background checks. Universal background checks. And I know it's controversial, but I got it done once. Ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. I was getting criticized when I first passed this law when I was a senator. And guess what? I was down in southern Delaware, do a lot of hunting and fishing down there. And I was walking up one of the creek beds.
Oh, guys, we're about to hear a good old Joe story. All right, what do you think it's gonna? How's this gonna end?
And the guy standing there said, "You want to take my gun?" I said, "No, I'll take your gun." He said, "Well, you're telling me I can't have more than the next number of bullets in my gun." And I said, "What do you think the deer you're hunting are wear Kevlar vests? What the hell you need 20 bullets for? You must be a hell of a terrible shot."
Whoa, what a
serious.
knee
Think about
slapper there, guys. Are we gonna hear the next one? What is it? You don't need a home defense gun. You just need a shotgun. They hear the they're gonna know exactly. Or is it the warning shots? Are we gonna get a warning shot or shoot them in the leg next? Oh boy, it's gonna be great.
Think about the mass shootings. As many as 100 rounds. It's a weapon of war. There's nothing to do with recreation. Outright ban of the sale and possession of unserialized guns. Eliminate gun manufacturers' immunity from liability. They're the only outfit. They're the only outfit in the country that is immune. Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune to being sued.
Wait till you hear about the vaccine industry, Joe. That's another fun one, but I
Come
can
on.
talk about that on
In
YouTube.
February, the families of 9 of the Sandy Hook shooting victims achieved a settlement against the maker of guns that was used to kill their children. The Sandy Hook folks are here. Are you embarrassed to ask you to stand up?
By the way, can we all just really appreciate how well that's... Imagine being the sign language interpreter. Yeah, someone's mentioned, just as someone else noticed it too. Yeah, watching the sign language translator with Jub Doe is just a fever dream. You are completely right. Yeah. It is a... that is a hard job.
These folks right here did more to keep all this going than anybody. We owe you, man. We owe you. It never goes away, does it? God love you. Look, this is incredibly rare because gun manufacturers have more immunity from liability than any other American industry. So they've
Sure
never
about
had
that
to
joke?
take responsibility for the death and destruction their products cause.
Yeah, by the way, you can still sue gun manufacturers, mind you. Like, you can still do that. You can sue them if they make a defective product. That's still legal to do. What he is saying is literally, it is the equivalent of suing Toyota because someone killed or a person using like a, I don't know, a Toyota Helix or something, or during a drunk driving accident. Or my bad, more a Tacoma. I've been watching too much ISIS videos for another fun thing that will probably be coming up in a video. Either way, let's keep going on though. This is just I'm wondering how much longer Joe can handle before he's going to keep stuttering and stammering more.
But as part of this settlement, Remington agreed to release thousands of pages of internal documents. He did that. And here's why it's so important. Remember, it wasn't until we saw the internal documents that we really understood what cigarette manufacturers are doing to our kids and our families. Now, we may begin to see what gun manufacturers are and are not doing when it comes to making and marketing their deadly products. And by the way, it's going to sound bizarre. I support the Second Amendment. You have a right. But from the very beginning,
Okay,
the
there's
Second Amendment
a
didn't
but.
say you can own any gun you want, as big as you want. You couldn't buy a cannon when, in fact,
He did it again. He literally did the you can't buy a cannon. How many times have we done this, Joe? Oh God. Okay. He literally said, how many more lines is he going to be? I am wondering if we're going to hear the warning shot one next or the crack of a shotgun.
the Second Amendment passed, and certain people from the very beginning weren't allowed to purchase guns. It's nothing new. It's just rational.
God damn it.
Look, this should be just a start. We need to repeal the liability shield of gun manufacturers and finally hold them accountable for false advertising and many other things they do.
What do they false advertise? They say the gun shoots bullets. The gun shoots bullets. What else do they do?
There's one more action I'm taking today. There's only been one Senate who's confirmed the Director of Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives in the Bureau's entire history. It used to be didn't require Senate action when I first got to the Senate, but it's only been one since it became required confirmation. This is an agency whose mission is to protect communities from violent criminals, illegal trafficking of firearms,
Where are the subtitles? I thought I had
acts of
subtitles
arson
on.
and bombing,
Did they
and
just
a
give
lot
up?
more.
They just gave up
The
on closed
mission of this
captioning.
agency isn't controversial. It's public safety. Today, to lead and support the dedicated men and women of the AFT, I'm proud to
He did the AFT again. What? He literally did the AFT again.
trafficking of firearms, acts of arson and bombing, and a lot more. The mission of this agency isn't controversial. It's
Wait. Did I even hear him say the X? Oh God, there's too much to go through this thing.
public safety. Today, to lead and support the dedicated men and women of the AFT, I'm proud
He said AFT
to
again.
nominate Steve Diddleback. Excuse me, I mispronounced your name. As Director of Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Steve is immensely qualified. He served the Department of Justice for 2 decades. He worked side by side to support the work of federal, state, and local law enforcement, including
Wait,
AFT
Bulligan's?
agents.
Oh, Bulligan's here! Yeah.
One of those was his
Let me give Bulligan a
case he was
moderator one.
personally,
Bulligan's awesome. I love
tried as a
Bulligan.
U.S. attorney, where the serial arsonist firebombed the courthouses and police headquarters in Mansfield, Ohio. For his work, Steve got death threats, but the defendant got 60 years. Steve also partnered with the community leaders and law enforcement to help prevent violent crime.
Please stand by. Please
He's
stand
worked with
by.
the police to combat domestic extremism.
They've
and
given
take
up,
violent
guys. Yes,
criminals
they've
off the
given up.
street. Steve's record makes him ready on day one to lead this agency. And by the way, in 2009, the U.S. Senate unanimously confirmed him to serve as U.S. Attorney. I look forward to working with the Senate to get him confirmed once again. With what I've know about him and why I'm so enthusiastic about supporting him, I'd like to introduce my nominee to lead the AFT to you, all of you. Steve, come on up here.
Is the sign language interpreter also saying AFT too? But, let's at least hear what this guy has to say. I'm curious to know.
Thank you, buddy. I'm just going to stand over here.
I'm just going to stand over here. He can't. Can he be worse than Chipman? Let's figure out. All right, let's see.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Vice President Harris, for your leadership in protecting the people of this nation and for placing your trust in me to become the next director of the ATF. Thanks.
Okay, at least we got one of them right.
Thank you also, Deputy Attorney General Monaco, for all that you and Attorney General Garland continue to do at DOJ to make our nation safer. And thank you, Mia, for your incredible inspiration and courage, not just here today, but all over this nation. Thank you. I also want to thank my incredible, supportive, and often patient family who are here. My wonderful wife, Carol, and my children, Allie and David.
I'm going to skip a little bit further ahead, but let me just read that what Bulligan's saying, because, yeah, this is basically what I've gathered from it, too. Essentially, it's more of we just don't like Paul Morady. This is really only going to affect Paul Morady. But, yeah, basically all existing frame types and definition stands are previously indicated. AR uppers aren't getting serialized. Glock barrels and slides aren't getting serialized. It's pretty much just going to be that buy, build, shoot kit and stuff like P80s. That is what I've gathered from it.
Please.
But let me go.
Women of the ATF. You know, I started as a career prosecutor back in 1992, and I have spent 3 decades watching and admiring agents and staff at the ATF, along with its federal, state, and local law enforcement partners, as they work tirelessly and courageously to protect the American people. I would also say they work in anonymity, but that would not be completely true. Because sadly, one thing I've also seen over the years is that the ATF often does work in anonymity when its agents are out there risking their lives to protect us, only to be thrust into the public eye when it's time for criticism. You know,
okay. All right. This is, I think, about to get a little interesting.
Law enforcement is a very tough job, and no person and no agency is perfect. But the President is right. The men and women of the ATF and the public that they protect deserve better support from us.
Remember that people were mad about the ATF when they murdered they burned children alive. And then, oh my God. Okay, you know, I didn't think it could be worse to have someone worse than Chipman, but okay, I think they found someone worse than Chipman.
I've seen firsthand the work that so many at the ATF do to protect us from violence. They're dedicated, they're professional, and they're effective. They don't write the laws. Their mission every day is just to go out and enforce those laws and protect the public from a wide range of threats. When I was U.S. Attorney, our office partnered with the ATF and the Cleveland Police as they doggedly investigated and brought a case involving the deadliest home arson in Cleveland history, killed 9 people, including 8 kids. I also saw the ATF partner with the FBI and our office, first to find and then to bring to justice a bigot who drove from Indiana to outside Toledo to torch the largest mosque in Ohio. And last, and certainly not least, I have partnered with the ATF for decades in its crucial fight against gun violence. You know, whether it was taking a single violent recidivist off the street in Maryland, or putting together a big racketeering case against a violent gang in Youngstown, Ohio. I have seen the ATF work with other law enforcement to make so many of our communities safer. As we emerge from this pandemic, we've got to recognize that many Americans still face fear and isolation, not because of a virus, but because of an epidemic of firearms violence.
That is one hell of a take.
It's not a new problem, and it has many causes. That's why it's going to take an all-hands-on-deck partnership approach to address that issue. And the ATF will be there. If confirmed, I promise to support.
I hope to God you do not get confirmed. Holy shit. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and, before I was seeing everyone mentioning Fast and Furious, of course. Yes, that is also another thing that the ATF did a lot. One of the biggest traffickers of illegal firearms is also the Bureau tasked for investigating said traffic of illegal firearms. But let's hear what he has to say, what he'll do if confirmed. This can only go well, I bet.
The men and the women of the ATF, and to do everything in our power to protect the people of this nation every single day. Thank you.
Are we going to sleepy Joe back?
Good job. Thank you, President. Thank you all for coming. By the way, he was responsible for the weather as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Are they going to take questions? No, they aren't. Okay, of course they're not going to take questions. Okay. All right. So Bulligan already kind of mentioned it earlier that essentially they aren't banning uppers. Now, of course, they've left it. It's sort of if they can basically start banning P80s and shit like that. Of course, there is no. They can always just make another rule change later on, but at least right now, uppers are still fine. All of that is still fine. What it looks like the real issue is polymer 80s and those I guess maybe jigs and stuff. Now, of course, someone mentioned, can you 3D print a jig? Well, you can always 3D print a jig. Now, whether or not you want to sell a printed jig, I'm not going to answer that one at all. I don't think I'm just going to caution on the side of no, but I'm not sure. But it's one of those things where what do we get from all of this? Kamala could not string an entire sentence no matter how strong and powerful she tried to be. I guess they tried it on a a shooting survivor to, get your sympathy before Joe got to speak. So I guess you guys missed that one. I'm sorry. After that, Joe mentioned there are too many people surviving from gun attacks. He mentioned his son Hunter for some reason. He said something about how if you need more than 10 shots, you're not a good enough shot. He mentioned AFT about 7, 8 other times. What else? He said, oh, we need to get more police. In fact, I don't want to defund the police. I want more police. So that's just even more. That's even more just salt into the wounds of all the progressives that voted for him. Oh God, it's. They have the ATF guy here come out and say, I don't like it how people get mad at us whenever we do something wrong. Yeah, this is just great. Oh yeah, I skipped the part where Joe wouldn't let go of the child. Yeah, at least we got to get the nice sniff for him. But that, this is obviously just going well. Now, let's see. Okay, well, we had a little bit more viewers than actually Joe Biden. We have over 114 now. That is... All right, well, glad to see you guys are here. Feel free to press like and subscribe for all the other shit. I'm hopefully going to get a high power thing soon later. But let's go ahead and just let's read the document that the White House came out with. Because this is their fact sheet that they wanted to come out with for us. Let me see if it pulls up for you guys too, because this is what I was actually planning on doing before they started streaming. But dear God, that is what a train wreck of a damn announcement. Dear God. Yeah, no, the Browning high power is a lot of fun. I really do enjoy it. But let's continue on with this thing. Let's go read the fact sheet they do. The Biden administration cracks down on the ATF's rule for ghost guns. Let me see if it's right for you guys. Okay, is that the right size? Let me see if I can resize it just a bit. I could have used Streamlabs, but I saw this, someone sent me this, and I just kept laughing, and I immediately set it up on my phone. So let me read this real quick. The Biden administration's crackdown on ghost guns ensures that the ATF has the leadership it needs to enforce its laws. Now, let me see if I can grow down a bit. I could care less about this guy. We just already heard about him. But let's hear this part. Okay, wait. Let me see if... Yeah, here's the part. Cracking down on ghost guns, the weapon of choice for many violent criminals. Today, the President and Deputy Attorney General will also announce that the U.S. Department of Justice has issued a final rule to rein in the proliferation of ghost guns, unserialized privately made firearms that law enforcement are increasingly recovering at crime scenes in cities across the country. Last year alone, there were approximately 20,000 suspected ghost guns reported to the ATF as having been recovered by law enforcement in criminal investigations. A tenfold increase from 2016. Let me see if this one actually. No, I've tried this before. Those do not work because because ghost guns lack serial numbers marked on their marked on other firearms. The law enforcement has exceedingly difficult time tracing a ghost gun from found at a crime scene back to an individual purchaser. That is, there's the term ghost gun. I have heard like 5 different definitions of it. I've heard, some. What was it? The Santa Monica Police Department was willing to call ghost guns actually guns with serial numbers. So it. All right, whatever definition we're using, I'm guessing we're talking about P80s. But let's go ahead and read this one. The final rule bans the business of manufacturing the most successful ghost guns, such as unserialized buy-build shoot kits. This is pretty much the Polymer 80 buy-build shoot kit, the one that I think had a slide. It basically came with the full slide, our lower parts kit, pretty much the rail, everything pretty much, even the drill bits. I guess it was the intent, maybe. Now, I haven't built a Polymer 80 before. I'm not sure how quickly you can do it. They made it sound like in a matter of minutes or a matter of 20 minutes or something like that. Yeah, you can build one of them. I guess that goes into the whole readily convertible thing. But then again, this is the ATF, so your guess is as good as mine and what their justification for it is for this. But wait a second, I didn't even read it fully. Yeah, no, it's a little 30 minutes. Okay, there we go. Silly me. Kits that individually can be bought online or at a store without a background check and can readily assemble into a working firearm in as little as 30 minutes. If only I can get a P80 in time, then I could have tested that. I guess that's not happening, but alright. With the equipment they have at home, this rule clarifies that these kits qualify as firearms under the Gun Control Act, and that commercial manufacturers of such kits must therefore become licensed and include serial numbers on the kit frame receiver, and commercial sellers of these kits must become federally licensed and run background checks prior to a sale, just like they have to do with other commonly made firearms. Now, which was the one I wanted? Yeah, I'll go to this. This is the one I definitely want to talk about, where it's this is the one that's a lot of fun. But let me go ahead and read this part because I mentioned about this part's a lot of fun. But that would essentially mean, I guess, if Polymer 80 wants to keep selling their buy-build shoot kits, they're going to have to become an FFL. I'm not sure, has Polymer 80 came out with a statement yet about this? Because, I mean, this is pretty much all directed towards Polymer 80. Whether I don't know if there's any debate about that. This is very much a Polymer 80 or a destroy Polymer 80's business model thing, because I genuinely don't know how the hell they're going to really stay in business anymore. I'm not sure if it bans other ones, or is it just the buy-build shoot kit? Who knows, really? They kind of just left it vague enough for, I don't really think people know too much. But Bulligan's still here. Maybe he might have a little bit more to that. I haven't been fully reading the chat yet, but yeah, he linked the full rule here. Okay. Is this the entire document? Let me pull this up if I can. Okay, yeah. That's a lot of document. That's a lot of pages. I think Bulligan's saying a video on that, because I would recommend, I guess, if he has that, that's going to be more of it. What I want to mention though is going to be more of this part about where they talk about the 90% of firearms being essentially not firearms. That one's a lot of fun because it comes to the fun little story from California where essentially an AR-15 could be construed as not really a firearm. But don't worry, we'll get to that in a second. Where were we last? Let me go find that. Bans the buy-build shoot kits. The final rule will also help turn some ghost guns already in circulation into serialized firearms. Through this rule, the Justice Department is requiring federally licensed dealers and gunsmiths taking any unserialized firearm into inventory to serialize that weapon. For example, if an individual builds a firearm at home and then sells it at a pawnbroker or another federally licensed dealer, that dealer must put a serial number on the weapon before selling it to a customer. This requirement will apply to regardless of how the firearm was made, meaning it includes ghost guns regardless of how the firearm was made, meaning it includes ghost guns made from individual parts, kits, or 3D printers. Now, I'm not sure if anyone's attempted to sell one of their 3D printed builds before, but who knows? Maybe everyone's range is different, I guess. But I'll tell you about the three ones I have asked. I think they all laughed at me. I think they immediately just started laughing when I asked them if they would want to buy one of my 3D printed builds, because it's just I don't know who I guess, okay, sure, this is a rule I guess they're gonna make. I don't know even if FFLs could sell or I don't even really even think this was an issue beforehand, but okay, I guess this is they're really gonna stop ghost guns with this one. All right. Let me see if anyone else has anything to say about this one, because I genuinely have never figured it. You could always sell your P80s made for personal use once you decide to be done with it. No serialization required. But did the FFL always have to serialize it afterwards, or could they just sell an unserialized P80? Because this makes it sound like they were always able to sell an unserialized P80. And then there's also the weird part of, well, if you keep selling them, then you might also become an unlicensed manufacturer, which that's the problem. That's the thing that always happens. It's a big thing. I think I noticed the really important word that Bulligan says. You could always sell your P80s made for personal use. The personal use, I think, is the very important key word there. Once you were done with it. Yeah, once you're done with it, you could make it with the intent to sell it, I bet. I think that's the rule for that. But of course, I'm not a lawyer. This rule builds on the Biden administration's prior executive action to rein in the proliferation of ghost guns in February 2020, when the U.S. Department of Justice launched a national ghost gun enforcement initiative, which is training a national cadre of prosecutors and disseminating investigation and prosecution tool to help bring cases against those who use ghost guns to commit crimes. As President Biden said during an event in at the New York Police Department headquarters, if you use a ghost gun to commit a crime, not only are the state and local prosecutors going to come after you, but expect federal charges and federal prosecutions as well. Has this happened yet? Because I'm wondering if it's gonna. I wonder if they would even go as far if someone actually just defends themselves with a let's say a 3D printed gun or a P80 or something like that. Because usually this can go either way, but who knows? This is all basically theoretical. We don't nearly know yet, I guess. But what is it? Yeah, let me read what Bulligan said here. FFLs were in a weird place with this. This actually helps codify what their requirements going forward. Oh, and personal use is the most important phrase there. Yeah, no, that's that's what I figured. But the question of how do they determine personal use versus commercial use is one that you really don't want the feds to try to figure out for you. That's something that I kind of understood at this point. It's one of those things of where you'd make sure you say, "Oh no, yes, Mr. Officer, yes, Mr. Agent. My AR pistol was always intended to be a pistol. I'm sorry. I never want to put it on my shoulder. But if I ever have to, I guess it is something I could." It's like that type of intent thing where we have to play mind games. But this is the fun one. Today's final rule includes 2 additional actions to make our communities safer. This is the part where people are kind of just freaking out about. Bulligan kind of already went through this. I'm not going to go completely through this whole thing. I mean, look at this. This is over 364 pages. I will let the FPC, GOA, all of those guys go through this with their team of lawyers because God knows I am just some dude in a room. But this is the part that people are getting confused about. First, the final rule ensures that firearms with split receivers are subject to regulations requiring serial numbers and background checks when purchased from a licensed dealer, manufacturer, or importer. Decades ago, ATF issued a regulation defining the frame or receiver of a firearm as the part that is regulated by the Gun Control Act, meaning that it is the part that the triggers federal serialization, background check, and other requirements. At that time, many firearms in the U.S. were single-framed firearms, like revolvers, that housed key components in a single structure. However, we have seen the increasing popularity of firearms using split or multi-part receivers that house key components in multiple structures. some courts have recently interpreted decades-old regulatory text in a way that, if broadly applied, could mean that as many as 90% of firearms in the United States today would not have a frame or receiver subject to the federal regulation. This final rule updates the regulatory definition of frame or receiver to ensure that firearms using split or multi-part receivers continue to be covered by our common sense gun laws. Now, that's my favorite part of the whole summary. They make it sound like they're going to start serializing AR uppers, but in the actual rule, it specifically says ARs are grandfathered. Yeah, I would imagine, because let me see if I can pull it up, because yeah, this is the part I really wanted to talk about here, because this 90% of firearms in the United States would not have the frame or frame or receiver subject to federal regulation. That would mean that 90% of firearms in the United States today would not be considered firearms. I mean, I don't really know what. This is kind of one of those things where you kind of just have to speculate on what it means, because I don't think. There's obviously the fun interpretation where it means, it's your AR-15 isn't a firearm. You could just go ahead and buy it on there. That was one thing that almost actually did pass. Let me see if I have that article up from where that happened. Yeah, here it is. It's this. Let me see if I got it. It's the truth about guns one. But essentially, they have a CNN article over here too, where let me just read this first. This little first part's just incredible. For more than a year, Joseph Rawle illegally manufactured AR-15 style rifles in a warehouse south of Los Angeles. His customers, more than 24 of whom were legally prohibited from possessing a firearm, could push a button, pull a lever, and walk away a short time later with a fully assembled, untraceable, semi-automatic. From what I remember, it was a fully automatic, not just semi-automatic, for about $1,000, according to court records. Rowe continued his black market operation despite being warned in person by agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives that he was breaking the law. But 5 years after raiding his business and indicting him, federal authorities quietly cut a deal with Rowe earlier this year and agreed to drop the charges. Why? The judge in the case had issued a tentative order that, in the eyes of prosecutors, threatened to upend decades-old Gun Control Act and seriously undermine the ATF's ability to trace and regulate firearms nationwide. That's because the judge said the AR-15 didn't meet the definition of a firearm. That's what it meant. But let me see if I have it. Yeah, it's basically, he was essentially making illegal, or not just semi-automatics, he was making fully automatic machine guns and selling them. But let me see if I have there. I was trying to find it. Google was just not, I could not find the story I had originally from it. But it is a hilarious story of what happened. It is, if you're a California gun owner, you probably know this all too well of, hey, something really cool is going to happen. Well, I'm like, oh wow, we actually might win something. Oh, and the case is dropped. So you don't get your ruling. This is basically that type of a thing. But let me see. Yeah, I'm going to try to find the right part of it where they actually have the judges like thing. But essentially it's, yeah, okay. The AR-15s, as we speak today, do not have a receiver by definition of existing law, and that's a huge issue. It shows that laws are obsolete and they're out of sync with the realities of today's firearms market. Yeah, this is basically this is what they are, this is my assumption of what they're talking about this thing, where they're saying 90% of firearms wouldn't really become firearms, because the definition of a firearm with these lowers is kind of ridiculous. It is. I mean, when you hear the judge's argument, I'm not sure if they have it fully here, but it was. I mean, he has a point. Like it's yeah. I guess when you look at it, or when you really think about using the actual ATF's definition, it's technically not a firearm. Even the prosecutor had to admit that, which is great. The only way to fix new legislation is basically define it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh wow! Would you look at wait? When was this article published? I think it was a while ago, 2019. Guess what? Someone mentioned this earlier too. What we are witnessing is exactly this. It certainly does. Okay. Okay. The only way to fix this, though, is through. Goodness gracious, I'm pulling a Biden. I'm sorry, guys. The only way to fix this is through new legislation. Congress alone can change federal law to define a frame, or receiver in such a way that an AR-15 rifles are covered. That's why Attorney General Lynch wrote this letter back. They wrote this letter she did back in 2016, suggesting a legislative fix. But Congress apparently shrugged that off. And yeah, no, pretty much what they're describing is this. Basically the Truth About Guns reached out to Gregory Nicholas, whatever he is. I'm going to call him Nicholas, for a comment on the case, but a call and text haven't been returned yet under a legal principle called Chevron deference. If I remember correctly, and maybe Bulligan's still here, he can correct me about this, but it was something, I think Chevron deference is where federal agencies pretty much have the right to regulate themselves, which kind of is, that's how we get some fun things that maybe we don't like. But federal courts give regulatory that's basically federal courts give regulatory agencies like the ATF wide latitude interpreting and enforcing Congress's awfully poorly written laws. However, when that agency's interpretation is so clearly at odds with the underlying language of the law, even the Ninth Circuit judges can't overlook the problem. Actually, you'll find out they very much can and will. But yeah. Nicholson asked the judge to reconsider recommending that the then U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions could conduct a review to determine whether there were any similar cases pending around the country or past convictions sustained on the basis of the ATF policy rather than law. Yeah, you can tell that the prosecutor at this point was absolutely terrified because yeah, this judge is a judge in California, for God's sakes. Did anyone expect the judge in California to pretty much make a ruling that, yeah, no, AR-15s just aren't firearms? When you look at it in the most legal, literal sense, it's just not a firearm. He has to ask whether we could go to the ATF policy, not the law. Yeah, the argument that Roe's attorney employed to get his client a very, very good deal. That is an understatement of a very good deal. Deal with no doubt will be used by defendants in future prosecutions of the same kind. It could also be used. Oh wait, did something happen? I see a buffer. Okay, are we good here? There will be no doubt used by defendants in future prosecutions of the same kind. It could also be used by other attorneys to try to reverse previous convictions of those found guilty on similar charges. Yeah. That's basically what I gathered from this, was them trying their best to kind of go around Congress. We heard Biden specifically say, I can't get anything past Congress, so I'm just going to use the executive authority to pretty much bypass Congress. We'll see how that goes, but okay, wait, let me go see. Oh, I got a $10 super chat here. I know there was another one earlier. I should probably read that one first. It was Winking Walrus. So twerking mosque is wrong, but not kids? Yes, apparently so. And let me go read the most recent one, the $10 one from Auxiliary Character. Yeah. Hey, what would happen if I designed a firearm that used a pre-existing mass production part, like a conduit body, as a receiver? Would that then mean hardware stores are illegally selling firearms? Did you buy your MAF magical or ATF magical 8-ball? Because that's the better person to ask before me. But let me go see with the chat. Apparently, Bulligan saying this isn't a. So is the FGC banned since the upper isn't grandfathered in? No, that's not happening. If that were the case, the point is you couldn't sell it. I don't even think that's even close to what happened, because from what I was gathering, it would mean that you'd have to pass a background check to buy it, but you're never going to buy an FGC upper anyways. You're supposed to. I don't think anyone sells that. You'd still have to make it. It really, even if that were the case, it doesn't seem like it would be a real issue. But that's kind of the point of 3D printers, is that you're just starting from zero. Now, whether or not they're going to try to do that eventually is just sort of that's a completely different place to go altogether. But basically, the upper was required to be serialized already for SCAR, etc. Then it still is. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's when we get. See, what everyone's kind of weirdly talking about is this. Wait, so what about the lower thing? Well, that's the problem. This is what we mean by the term firearm as defined by the Gun Control Act, and kind of what the ATF did, really doesn't make sense. which is right. What the truth about guns says right here is the correct way of doing it. If you really want to make this more clear, the proper way is to go through Congress. You're supposed to go through Congress to, actually codify that. You can't just use federal or agencies. Now that's what's going to happen, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, we'll see, I guess. But let me go read this one. Do a review of the or is that the? Oh, is that the? Okay, that's the AP pistol with Advanced Material Sciences. They're doing a Kickstarter right now. Is it legit? Does it glow? From what I've heard that those guys have been fine. I think I've heard that they're good. I wouldn't mind doing that if I could ever get it, but I don't really. I mean, are they even selling the AP 9mm? I'm not sure, but yeah. These are the people are. These people are. Can you define what is and what is a woman themselves deaf? Yeah, the definition things are. That's the problem with a lot of this. Is the definition stuff is. We're at the fun part where I look at this as like California law of really the law doesn't actually matter. It's just more of how you're going to enforce it, and then you can worry about the law later. Of it seems like probably P80 or Polymer 80 is going to try their best to sue it. In the meantime, I don't think they're probably going to be able to sell anything. From what it sounds like, they're basically sold out anyway, so I guess good luck. But it basically sounds like that's just them targeting really Polymer 80, if anything. They literally had the Polymer 80 buy build shoot kit there, which is that's a Polymer 80 thing. I'm not sure if anyone else did that. So I'm curious to see what Polymer 80's response is to that. But yeah, page 87. Okay, what's page 87? Let me go pull up page 87, as Bulligan said. 87. Okay. First Amendment scrutiny had no relevance as a. What is this? Oh, 74. Oh, 70. Wait, am I reading this right? 74. Okay, let me go with that one. 74. Okay. The final. Okay, so I guess this gives a lot more of a rule to that. The firearm rule provides that once a modular subpart of a multi-piece frame or receiver has been marked and then aggregated, assembled or unassembled with the other frame or receiver subparts, the marked part cannot be removed and replaced unless the subpart replacement is not a firearm under 26 USC 584 or 5845. 2. The subpart replacement is identified by the licensed manufacturer of the original subpart with the same serial number and associated license information in the manner prescribed by the rule. And 3. The original subpart is destroyed under the firearm licensee's control or direct supervision prior to such placement. These conditions are necessary because removing and replacing the identified component of a multi-piece receiver, a frame or receiver would place that possessor in violation of 18 USC 922K, and if an NFA item, okay, so basically got the statutes, which prohibits the possession of any firearm with the manufacturer or importer serial number removed. If the modular subpart of multi-frame, oh my God, I hate reading legal documents. If a modular subpart of the multi-piece frame or receiver is sold separately, the rule requires that it be identified with an individual serial number. This is to ensure that the frame or receiver of the resulting weapon has a traceable mark of identification. These clarifications with respect to the marking of a multi-piece frame or receiver are necessary for the final rule. Otherwise, multi-piece frames or receivers could be sold or distributed piecemeal in individual subparts and replaced by the end user without any traceable marks of identification. I kind of understood it beforehand, but thank God I had Bulligan kind of there to describe it. But essentially, if I'm getting this right, pretty much it means, yeah, don't worry too much about don't worry about individual parts being serialized right now. Again, if they can kind of just do this anyways, who knows, maybe in the future, but that's not what this one does now. What this one does now is basically screws over Polymer 80. I think that is kind of the one thing that everyone sort of agreed on, is that, yeah, this basically screws over Polymer 80. But yeah, no, this is basically the ATF. It is sort of unfortunate. I don't really know too much about I'm curious to see if they've made a response yet, because I think this is probably the big thing for them. I don't really know what's going to happen now afterwards. Are they going to start prosecuting the people that bought them? I don't really know. I'm not sure if they got grandfathered in. It's, yeah, it's one of those things where it's definitely not good, and it should definitely be fought in the courts, and I hope to God it gets overturned or something. But it's probably going to be something that I don't think you're going to be able to buy the buy, build, shoot kits anymore for at least the time being, which is unfortunate if you wanted to get one. But that's kind of where 3D printers come. That's kind of the whole fun part of this whole thing, is that it really seems like their way to basically defeat all ghost guns was pretty much to ban polymer 80. So that was, you would like to hope that's what they think, is they're just going to stop there. But I mean, if we've seen anything, it was, I mean, it wasn't, was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago where we watched the JSD hit piece one? Yeah, that kind of, there was a reason behind that. They were going after P80 stuff. They were really, really pushing it. They were really showing that look at all this ghost gun crime. Look at all these, it's the P80s. They didn't want to show it. You can tell that was kind of what they were going with. They were already going with the whole, this is basically the weapon of terrorists and stuff. They do I still have that pulled up, where they literally censored, what is it? Who is the guy? Is it Jared from JSD? Like, they censored the JSD logo. They didn't let him say where he was from. You could tell that he was wearing the JSD logo underneath it, but they censored everything. They didn't let you see where he was from. They were basically going after P80s more than anything. It seems like they don't really understand 3D printed stuff that much at all. If they're really just their way of stopping the 3D printed stuff was, oh, now you can't sell it to an FFL. Okay, you got us there. All right, well, shucks. Like, it's kind of okay. But essentially, if you're trying to figure out why I was kind of laughing about this is kind of hilarious. It's more of, I kind of just saw this as, wait, this is it? I mean, it's not good, of course. Yeah, any infringement's too much of an infringement, but this is really it? That this is the way they're going to stop gun violence, the way they're going to end ghost guns? They're going to basically remove, I guess, attack P80s? Okay. I mean, I 3D print everything anyway. Then I always say 3D printers are a lot of fun, of course. But yeah, I mean, this is the whole thing. Now, I'm wondering if we can find the supposed like celebrity after party word after this. But essentially, from what I've gathered from this and from what everyone's basically been saying, this practically doesn't really do much of anything. It's more of a very, very, it's a dangerous precedent that definitely should be fought. And of course, it's important that we all know that. But for right now, I guess, don't start instantly panicking yet. Don't go and buy every single parts kit immediately. I mean, if anything, that's really more the P80 stuff. But good luck. Apparently, they're all sold out. It really isn't too much to worry about. But it's kind of funny that this was this is their big thing, that they were going to come out with an announcement today. I guess the big worrying thing is more of the ATF, or the new ATF, director they're trying to push in. We'll see whether or not he gets confirmed or not. I guess we can try again with what happened with Shipman last time, but we'll see whether or not we can pull that out like we did last time. But who knows? I guess I can keep reading this a little bit more. Oh, actually, I do like this part. I want to say this part because I found this really funny. Second, the final rule requires federally licensed firearm dealers to retain key records until they shut down their business or license activity. At that time, these dealers must transfer the records to the ATF, just as they currently are required to do at the end of a license activity. Previously, these dealers were permitted to destroy most records after 20 years, making it harder for law enforcement to trace firearms found at the crime scenes. According to ATF's National Tracing Center, on average, more than 1,300 firearms a year are untraceable because the federally licensed firearm dealers destroy their relevant records that are more than 20 years old. That is, that's kind of funny, but okay, that's a shame. That, I guess, I don't know, 20 more. I guess you can't do that anymore. This is more really out of all of this stuff, it really affects more FFLs than it does people, because I guess you would need a background check to buy P80s. I guess that's about it. But essentially, yeah, here you're going to go learn more about how Biden's the most popular president of all time is going to tell us about how great he's been doing. This final rule is a part of the president's comprehensive gun. This final rule. Well, I would hope this is the final rule, but I don't think it is. This final rule is part of our president's comprehensive gun crime reduction strategy. President Biden has made more progress on executive actions to reduce gun violence than any other president during his first year in office. You can read more about the administrative administrative's whole of government approach to reduce crime here. Or gun crime here. President Biden's fiscal year's 2023 budget calls on Congress to deliver the funding needed to implement President's comprehensive strategy to reduce gun crime and make our communities safer. These additional resources will fund accountability policing, including by putting more police officers on the beat, refund the police, and making essential investments in crime prevention and community violence intervention. Congress needs to do its job by passing the budget and other essential legislation to reduce gun crime, including legislation to require background checks for all gun sales, ensuring that no terrorist can buy a weapon in the United States, ban the sale and possession of unserialized firearms, ghost guns, ban assault weapons and high capacity. Okay, yeah, basically, he's basically saber rattling, saying, "Why can't you let me ban assault weapons again? I want to ban assault weapons again. I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something." It's a virtue signal victory that's really not going to affect too many people. Of course, we shouldn't sit idly by and let this happen, but it's essentially what this is. It's a virtue signal victory. It doesn't really do anything too much, but it's a lot of people said the same thing too about the bump stock ban. It was not going to do anything, but look how it's being used now. It definitely should be fought back. FFLs aren't people. That's right. That's true. FFLs aren't people. Oh, whoa. Let's be careful here. I can't say certain these other words. But print shot kits. Let me read this. Barrels and slides won't require serializations and will be continued to sell as parts. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I've gathered from this whole thing. All of this is basically a virtue signal, is what it is. But yeah, they obviously are trying their best to, they want it to be worse. This can get much, much worse, I bet. But right now, it's not that big of a deal. It's not the right time to panic. However, you definitely should do whatever you can. I don't know, give to the FPC, give to whatever your favorite gun advocacy group is. Yeah, I would say the NRA, but no, not even. I won't even give them the joke. We don't like the NRA here. But hey, at least they got to call out again for Biden. At least they're too busy focusing on the NRA still. Yeah, most people did P80s to build gubs. I mean, you got to keep in mind though, this is a this is a printed channel, if anything. But yeah, I would say you should be able to do. You should, if you want to build a P80, you should definitely still be able to build a P80. I kind of wanted to build a P80 at some point. I guess that is not happening anymore. I'm kind of upset I didn't buy the $80. Don't care. I'm panicking anyways. Well, I mean, you could panic all you want, but yeah. I'm sure in the middle of these 300 pages, there's some force sensing. The ATF can do whatever they want. No. The ATF can already do what they want. That's what this was about. Yeah, the Chevron deference. That's the ATF, OSHA, all of them can do whatever the hell they want because of this. That's what this whole thing is. That's kind of the problem with the Chevron deference is that they can already do that. They don't need to put that. They don't need to put that there. Oh yeah, gaming channel. Right. Wait. Thank you, Sonoman. I forgot. Yeah, let me make sure I fulfilled that thing. Where is it? Where? Okay, let me change this real quick. Oh, wait. Where is it? It should show up at this point. Don't worry. No, guys, I got it. Yeah, okay, wait. Here we go. Yeah. We have it's Fate. Don't worry, we got Fate here. It's still gaming. Don't worry, YouTube. It's a gaming channel. It's a gaming stream after all. Forgot. Yeah, we're gaming Fate. It's Fate Stay Night. But yeah, we're a gaming channel. Don't worry. But yeah, I think I'll probably end the stream in about maybe a couple of minutes, or maybe like 5 or 10 minutes, maybe. Because really, that's the whole point of all this. Someone here, a Baka Gamer here, says no one can stop the signal. That's correct. That's basically the whole point. Is that's what all of this really is. Is that this doesn't stop anything, and you could still, if you have a 3D printer, this really doesn't affect you much at all. In fact, it really won't. But if you want to get a P80. If you can pick one up, go ahead. Right, get whatever gun or whatever gun policy group you favor most. GOA, FPC. What is the other one besides them? I'm not sure. I forget. I can't keep track of all of them. But that's the best way of dealing with this. Probably make sure write your congressman, your senator, to not let this ATF agent get in. But yeah, that's really all it. Oh, really, this kind of is you can really do at this point now. But yeah, every gun law is an infringement. That's correct. That is completely true. Yeah, that's we. The reason why I say we shouldn't just sit idly back for this is because again that was kind of the whole thing with the bump stock. The bump stock ban was a virtue signal. It was supposed to be nothing, but look how we've seen how it's gone now. Look how we've seen so far. It's that type of idea, or the idea behind the bump stock ban. It's kind of been used for other things too. So it's one of those things we need to keep in mind. I'll guess I'll read the chat in the meantime, but yeah, pretty much Biden wants to ban assault weapons, do all those other things. The gun safety groups. They're all cheering this as a victory for beating ghost guns. Okay. But either way, any new gun law or any gun laws are infringement. So yeah, we should probably fight against it. Let me see what we got here. When will we ban pipe shotguns, spook use of ghost guns? I don't know. Soon. Well, we'll see. Let me go see. You don't even need a 3D printer, to be honest. This changes nothing. I mean, yeah, the only thing it would really change is I don't think you're going to be able to buy P80s and then just expect them to get sent to your house. I'm assuming you're going to have to do something more. Yeah, it's a nothing burger. That's what Bulligan basically said. It's a nothing burger. It's something that looks like they did something without actually doing something important. Yeah, virtue signal. That's basically what it is. That's kind of why I wanted to do it, because I read this literally does nothing. In fact, I find it really funny that they even mention the whole, 90% of 90% of guns aren't really guns. I wonder if anyone's going to try to use it as a case or as some sort of evidence for something. I would really find it funny if someone mentions, well, you look at this, they try to use the same argument that one, or what is it, Mr. Rowe did from California to get his machine gun charges dropped on him. Well, you see, not only have we seen it almost happen before, even the White House mentioned that it's actually not a firearm, you see. We look right here, 90% of firearms aren't firearms. They said it here. The one I have is just like that, right? I'm curious to see if any of the major gun organizations wants to try that out for something. That'd be really funny to see if that actually works. But, it really is a nothing burger. That's what it is. But, yeah. Write them a handwritten letter and make them read it. Yeah. Many EU nations have extremely tight controls on machine shops now and raw materials. Don't underestimate how far they will take control. No, of course, no. It's a nothing burger, but yeah, it has the potential to get much, much worse. But for right now, it's really nothing. Don't get too scared. Don't go ahead and think, it's the sky is falling. Because when you start yelling, oh my God, this is it, this is it, this is it, this is it, well, you're going to make everyone when it actually is coming down, when shit's actually getting really, really bad, it's going to get, people just won't listen to you. You cry wolf so many times, you're going to lose some people. But yeah, auto key cards were legal art too. Yeah, that's a thing too. Now, it gets the ball rolling, and I don't know why it's funny. Oh, it's funny because they literally they're singing this as they've solved everything. They made it sound like they basically convinced a bunch of people that they banned ghost guns, which they didn't. That's why I found it funny. Maybe your sense of humor are a little bit different, but, perhaps you might be new here. So, I'm sorry. Sorry if you didn't find it funny. So what's the Browning high power update? Well, that one's a bit. I'm going to probably have to do a little bit of filming for that. I had a lot of other plans for it. Those plans kind of came to an unfortunate. It's not going to. A lot of the video plan kind of fell through for some other reason that I don't want to really mention right now, but it might take a little bit longer because I have to do some more other things then. I have to change up a little bit. But I'm hoping to try to get it done by the end of the week. It might end up actually being probably next week, but I'll do my best for that. So we'll see. What else we got here? Anything else anyone wants to say? Need more Fate streams? Well, you're in luck. I think I'll probably stream something on Twitch right after this. But let me read if there's anything else. Either way, Bulligan's still here. Thanks for coming. Absolute honor to have you here. It was a lot of fun. Maybe one of these days we can have you on for a fun stream. But either way, love what you do. Yeah. We're gonna sell 79 kits. That would actually be kind of funny. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do. Ho homo, please for the love of God, stop Fed posting. Oh my God. I'm gonna have to take away that wrench if you do this. No, yeah, no, Bulligan. Trust me, it's way better that you were here because you're much more. For me, I'm not a lawyer for this. I basically just read this as, yeah, this is just essentially a virtue signal. This was going to be nothing. Like, it's absolutely nothing, and it was just them coming out to show. You can see it right now. What is it? David Hogg, all of them are basically yelling at Biden for not doing enough. He's not doing anything. How could you? You're supposed to be here to ban ghost guns. You were supposed to be the gun sense president. Why aren't you doing anything? Well, yeah. This is him trying to get one of those promises done. It's definitely not going to appease anyone. In fact, it's just going to make everyone. It's them really trying their best to show those gun grabbing organizations. See, we're doing something. See, we did something. We can do things too. We're going to keep some of our promises. See, it's just it's funny in the regard of it is such a desperate attempt to show that they're doing something that it doesn't really do what most people think it does, but it's interesting to see that because you can read the document and you can kind of listen to what he said, and this part too, where the weird split receiver thing makes it sound like they're going to serialize uppers, but they're not. They're not actually doing that. That's not what that means. Now, if you want to try to read legalese on your own, don't worry, Bulligan kind of already did it for us, but if you want to try to read it on your own, you can read it for yourself here, page 74 to 73, sort of. But go ahead. Yeah, so either way, it has been a lot of fun. I don't want to leave this one going on too long. I kind of basically said everything I wanted to say. Let me see what we have here. How many people do we have left? Oh, we have 80. Yeah, we had over. We had around. Wait, that cannot be right. That's not right. The total number of views of this stream was 592. That is a ridiculous number. I don't think that's right. What was the amount of concurrent viewers? Around 128. Well, that's talk about a good stream. Might have to do more daytime streams then. If they do another Ghost Gun live stream, I'll do it in the day again, I guess. But yeah, we had around 110, so that's fun. Well, I guess I'm going to probably end it soon. I kind of already finished with my work today pretty early, so I might do something on Twitch. 5. Well, yeah, you never know. That's what he was based. That's what the ATF agent was saying. There's secret undercover ATF agents with us all everywhere. I'm not sure which one of you guys is one, but they are there. So I think I'm gonna go to Twitch. It's just the same. It's at twitch.tv/agcast. Just one word there. I'll probably, I don't know, I'm either going to play that or I'm either going to probably play Fate for an unholy amount of time, or I'm going to play Genshin because I do need that CCP footage. That's going to be a lot of fun for when I do my Bulligan's a Fed. That can't be right. Control P is a secret Fed. And then so is PSR. And then so is Ivan, and so is everyone. Everyone is, actually. Yeah. I'll jump on Twitch so I can chat about the Mod 9. Okay. Well, yeah, mine. Well, it's. Sorry, Sonoman. I need to play. When I make the video about Chinese optics, I'm going to need some sort of Chinese game to play for it. Okay. If you could find some other fun things, I'm gonna have. I need to review the SIG MSR, and I might as well review all the other Feiachi random just Chinese optics that I've had. The random assortment of 30 different holographic sites or fake EOTechs, fake red dots, fake aim points. I mean, I got so many of them at this point. I might as well do that. But hey, play Chinese parents. Everyone is a Fed except for me. Correct. That is completely true. Maybe the real Freds were the friends Ken's counseling catch. Why did I not give you the mod yet? Let me give you that. Yeah. Maybe the real Feds were all the friends we made along the way. Well, yeah, I think that's a good way to end it there. Alright, guys, I'll see you guys on Twitch immediately afterwards. So, I guess enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go probably play an unfortunate game.